Textures, shaders, and materials? Oh my. So this video is going to be pretty quick. We're going to cover textures, shaders, materials, and Unity. Basically, materials are going to be a container for a shader and a texture that you can wrap around a 3D object. Hello. Now, we are going to talk about three different things today. So there'll probably be three different movies, but we're going to talk about materials, and it'll be pretty quick. We're going to talk about environments, how to create them, how to texture them, and we'll talk a little bit about water and trees and how to make environments. The environment maker is not necessarily the best in Unity, but it does bring up a nice, quick way to make an environment that you could use as a background or as just a preliminary environment to practice or work in before tweaking it and improving upon it. So I've made a new project here. We don't have to something that's strange. There we go. My viewer was off. All right, so I have a new scene here. I ignore everything here. We'll talk about what all this is. What I want to talk to right now about is materials. So if I go to my object, I'm going to make a new folder. Or first of all, before I forget, I did not say how to save in Unity. You have to save two things in Unity. You have to save the scene and you have to save the project. So the scene is going to be saved as an asset in your project. So go to File, Save Scene. What you should do is make a folder called Scene, and in this case I called my first scene Material. This is a new scene. I'll go Save Scene, and then I'll go to my Scene folder, and we'll call this my demo. Yeah, so most of the information you have will actually be stored in the scene, not the project. So if you don't save the scene, you'll lose a lot of work. So save the scene, save the project. Now, we want to talk a little bit about making materials. Usually, well, basically, material is going to be a container that holds a texture and a shader. So you have a texture, a shader, they form material, and the material will be applied or wrapped around your 3D object. So here, if we open up, make a folder called my object. I have three different subfolders because I have three different assets for this object. But the shader, again, normally you're not going to make your own shader, but if you need to, right click, you go create, and you go to shader, and we just use standard surface shader. Again, you're probably not actually going to do this, but if you need to, you can. You see, you click here, there's not a lot of stuff you can do. You can actually show some code. I believe you can actually interject on other types of shaders. You can interject your own code, but you're probably not going to do this step. I just want to show you that there is such a thing as a shader, and you can have it. Go back to my object folder now. We have the shader folder. Now we have a new folder called texture. This is going to be the 2D image that's going to wrap around your object. The shader shows how the object is going to appear. The texture shows what's going to appear. In this case, I have this silly little sprite. You can find any image. This is just a two-ball example. And I just have this little image, and this is going to be my texture. And I can just drag it in from the File Explorer. I can actually import it, but I just need some sort of picture, and this is what I have. So right now it's a texture. It repeats, it's bilinear. I don't have anything special set. I don't declare this as a sprite. I don't split it up or anything. It's just a flat image. Go back to my object. We're going to make a new right click and make a new folder. We'll call it Material. And here, what we're going to do is I'll just show you how we're going to do this. We're going to do create material 2. And this is what you get. You get this blah, white, ugly thing. Well, up here, again, see here it says standard shader. Again, you don't actually have to make your own shader. You can just use the standard shader. That's what we made. But we can go to custom. We can use my own shader. That's the one that I made. It's going to offer you a texture. So here we can select an image. I have a bunch of images right now, but we're going to use the bouncy balls. And then we can see how many times we want to tile it. You say 5 and 5. You can see what's happening down here. I now have more, the textures repeated more often. And then I have these two different things I can play with here. I have smoothness and metallic. So if I take smoothness away, it's hard to see, but it will look kind of bumpy. It'll look kind of rough. If I increase smoothness, you see now it kind of looks like glass. Down here you can see the effect more than over here. See, it looks like glass, and now it kind of looks like rubber. Glass, rubber. And you can set how, and so this is what the shader does. This is the shader portion of it, how it's being displayed. And metallic, right now it's metallic 0, so it definitely looks like glass or rubber. If I move it over here, it looks kind of like a rubber. If I move metallic up, you'll see that the reflection changes and it gets a little darker, looks a little more denser. If I take smoothness off, you can see that it will change as well. But it's not going to have, it's going to definitely look different than the non-metallic. The easiest way to see is here. Here it definitely looks like some sort of glass or plastic. Here it just looks like a lump or a rock or something, with not nearly as much shine. Which always confused me as a kid, because I always thought metallic would be shiny, but it doesn't. I guess it doesn't. Not actually as shiny as say a smooth glass object. So these are basically the two things you can do with your shader. You can actually, there's more options once you get a little more advanced. Generally speaking, you're not going to be doing too much work here. A good practice is 50-50 if you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes taking metallic off for like characters and having just kind of 50 for smoothness will work pretty well for a character as well. So that's shaders and materials. Now, if I want to create an object, so say game object create 3D object, we'll say sphere. So I've created my sphere. Zoom in on it. This ugly white sphere. I can actually drag my texture onto it, and lo and behold, if I look at my game mode, oh, I can't because my camera's not in the right spot. Still not in the right spot. Look at my game mode. There is my ball. There's my sphere with my texture I've created on it. So that is that's what you can do with materials. Remember, a material goes around an object, a mesh, to give it a look. The material contains a shader and a texture. The shader says how it will appear. The texture says what will appear. So that concludes it for this video. Like I said, it's going to be pretty quick. If you need to keep playing around, play around with it a little bit to see what you can do with materials and textures and shaders. Otherwise, we'll move on. This has been Towle Talks. Until next time, cheers.